So I found this app, which lets me have a giant start and stop button for all of my backing tracks on an iPad, and I've got control over which outputs it has and all that good fun stuff. So the app I'm using for this, and there were far too many iPad apps to do this with, but the app that I found and came across is the app called Multitracker. It looks like this, and it's a free app with a catch that it plays an audio file saying like, you need to purchase this app after a few minutes or a few plays. But the reason why I chose this one is because it gives you full functionality to play with it, and you can also output MIDI and that sort of stuff, so you can actually replicate quite a lot of Ableton in this app, which is what I was looking for. Anyway, Multitracker, it's free to download. Do it with me, try it with me. If you don't like it, there are a few other apps, but this is the one that I'll be using. So once you've got the app, the next step is the stems, the backing tracks themselves. Now you may already have these ready, and that's great. If not, then you can check out the video that I've got just up there on how to put a click track to backing tracks and all that good fun stuff. But there's two ways that you can do this. The first one, and the most simple, is just having click pan to the left, all of the tracks pan to the right. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You don't really need much setup for that, which is great. If you're doing that in Logic, it literally looks like this, where you pan the click to the left, you get all the other stems, pan it to the right, and then just export it as one audio file. I'm going to be a little bit fancier, and I'm going to have a little bit more control over my outputs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to export the click on its own, WAV 24-bit 4T4.1. The file type I found doesn't really matter because it's being handled by the iPad, but it just makes sure that they all match. If you're one of the Patreons, then as I'm exporting this right now, you'll get these very stems and this Logic project if you wanted to dive in and do this with me. You can find the link in the description just down below. Then for this, I'm then just going to export the rest of the stems, and the reason why I've done that is because of the audio interface that I'm using. But if you wanted to export even more so of that, so having multiple different tracks and things like that, then just export them individually however you like. For now though, I'm going to try and keep it cheap and simple all at the same time, which is our favorite things in the world. So let's stick with that. So once we've exported all of the stems, now we actually need to do the very fun job of either plugging the iPad in to the Mac or airdropping. In this case, I'm going to plug in the iPad because I can drag it straight into the app. So for me, I'm just going to grab a USB to USB cable. When the iPad is plugged in, now you're going to get it onto the side, so make sure you trust it. You'll then get this up. It's like the old iTunes, for those of us who've used iTunes and all that joyous software. But you're going to go into Files, and then you'll see, if you scroll down a little bit, Multitracker 2.2. And that's the app we're using. So I'm just going to open up Finder, and with the stems that we've literally just imported, I'm just going to drag that into Multitracker 2.2. It's going to load. You can hit sync. I do already have a bunch of other stems in there, but we can ignore that for now. I'm just going to hit sync one more time just to make sure, you know, you can never be too safe. And then that's it. And then I'm just going to eject. So with this, we want to talk about hardware because that's what's going to be outputting from this iPad. Now, for this video, I'm going to keep it cheap and simple, and I'm using this little guy, which is the Focusrite Solo. If you want to purchase exactly what I'm using in this video, you can find the links in the description. But this I've chosen because it's literally only 2 outputs, which is why we've only exported click and backing tracks. But this can expand all the way up to the Focusrite 18920, so you can have up to 10 outputs, and it's a bit mental that the iPad can do it. But in this case, it just means that I just have to plug in a USB-C from the iPad into here and I'm done. As a quick heads up, that does mean that the iPad won't be charging, so I'd highly recommend getting the camera connection kit. Again, the link is in the description. And that means that you can connect this and a charger, so that's then all you'll need. And finally, if you're feeling a little bit fruity and didn't want to use a DI box, which is a very, very dangerous thing to do, as I've been told by many audio engineers, so highly recommend a DI box. But if you wanted like an emergency, they don't have a DI box left, I still need to get the audio out, then get a jack to XLR cable. Mine's beautifully yellow and it's really short, actually. But it means I can just throw this in my bag, and then should I need to, I do actually have 2, but it means that I can then just plug an XLR directly into the back of the Focusrite. So with that, I'm just gonna grab a USB-C, gonna plug it into the iPad, and the smart person in me would have put a bit of Velcro on the back, so then I could just have like stuck that to the back of the iPad, but here we go. But on the app, you'll see that audio outputs have changed, which is probably quite reassuring because they have. Again, if you're using something with more inputs or outputs, they'll all show up here. But as we can see, USB 1, USB 2, there are outputs. So on the app, I'm going to select click and then rest of stems as there are 2 tracks. As you can see, they appear on the right. The bad thing about this app, it's not very user intuitive. So please hit loads of buttons, see what things do. If all else fails, just close the app and reopen it and it'll be fine. Now, if I hit start, nothing's going to happen because we haven't selected an output. So click, I'm just going to go output 1 and then rest of stems, hitting the out button, output 2. Now, as you can see, there's two lists here. There's rest of stems left and rest of stems right, and that's because it's a stereo file. So you're telling which side to go to which output, which is incredibly helpful. So actually, I'm just gonna select both two because I want both stereo things to go into a mono and then out one channel. But again, if I had like 4 outputs on this, then I could go output 2 and 3 and have a stereo backing track, and then click out of 1, and then 4 can be just miscellaneous. I'm just going to change the click as well by hitting out and make sure that's out 1. So now, there you go, when I hit start, it all runs. Then you're just going to hit save at the top here, and I'm just going to call this video stems because I'm creative, and then that's it. So if you want to do the next track, then you have to press clear selection at the top, it'll clear those two, and then you select your next tracks. Now the handy thing about this app, one thing I do like about it, is that looking at the bottom, you can kind of move through until you get to the live view. So if we go into playlist view, now we can see I've got 3 tracks I've already done for a separate gig, and then video stems, which is what we've just created. So we can tap on that, it'll add it to the right-hand side, and now we're creating our playlist. So if I take one of the other stems, so Everybody Dance, it puts it underneath, and you can carry on like this for your whole show. Once you've done that, just hit the save button, name the playlist, so I'm gonna go video playlist. I know, I spelled that wrong. As a heads up for this one, if you press the clear button to load up a playlist, because the songs are on the left, the playlists aren't, which is a bit weird. You go to the top right, you hit load, and then you go video playlist. It's loaded there. Then, when you're ready, you've set up all of your tracks, you're good to go. You go into live view, and there we go. We can just go start, and it starts all of the tracks, outputting beautifully. It's a wonderful time. And there we go, we've got some giant buttons on our screen that we can just tap. The great thing, like I said about this, is that you can do MIDI outputs as well. So if I was using the Focusrite 18920, then I can utilize those MIDI outputs. I can have a foot switch, I can have the SPDSX. It starts to get a little bit crazy controlling an iPad with an SPDSX, but there you go, that's the endless possibilities with an iPad. As mentioned earlier, if you want to grab all like the Focusrite and stuff like that, just to make sure you're buying like the one that I'm using in this video, then you can grab the Amazon links in the description down below. And if you're a Patreon and you want these stems with the Logic project so you can do exactly this, you can find the link also in the description down below. But with that, I hope that you enjoy starting to play backing tracks with an iPad.